everybody, it's Jody Silverman and we are in the nest and I'm with a new mom, a new friend. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Just tell everybody who you are, if you're married, how many kids you have, maybe their ages, and then we're going to get right into your story.
Sure. I'm Fran Garvey. I am married. I've been married 30 years and I have 4 adult children, 2 and 2. 2 boys, 2 girls, 22 to 28.
4. I can barely manage 2. And I'm talking to women who have 3 and 4 kids. More power to you, Mom. But Fran and I were introduced actually via email from
That's
a
right.
mutual acquaintance who thought we would make a good connection with each other. And we had a really great, almost like a half an hour conversation on the phone. And during that conversation, Fran shared with me a story that it made me smile. I felt nervous listening about it. I could feel what was going on in your life, and I invited you to be in the nest, so thank you. I would love for you to share this because I know that there are women out there that can relate to this and what happened to you, and maybe it hasn't happened to them yet, but it might. So maybe you'll inspire somebody to go face their fears. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. Maybe they don't know what I'm talking about yet. Okay, so going back a few years, my 4th child was off to college, and it was in the dead of winter. And it's just that time when your children have sort of left and you don't really have much else going on, and you really feel like this February is kind of coming in, and what am I doing? And I'm involved in community service and I sit on a board, but it doesn't really keep me very active. And my husband kind of recognized it, and I will never forget this. He comes home and it's dark. It's only like 5:30, but it's dark. And we're having a glass of wine at the kitchen counter, and he says, "You know what? I'm going to work for the next 5 to 8 years. What are you going to do? You have to go find something to do." I said, "What do you mean find something to do? Like maybe a job?" And I just had to laugh. I hadn't been working for 17 years.
Now,
I had been out of the workforce.
So 17 years out of the workforce, but your husband recognized that something was missing for you. He wasn't saying go to work because I want you out of this house. He was actually recognizing that there was something missing for you.
Exactly.
Which is
exactly.
pretty cool. And by the way, February is a rough month.
Yeah, it's a rough month, and he knew that I had so much more to give. He really sensed it, and he's really my cheerleader. You know that song?
That's nice.
I have my cheerleader.
Yeah.
He is my cheerleader. He knew I had, the skills and the talents. I've got strategic planning, financial planning. I'm the vice president of a large private club. So I have something to give, and he was right. But I think this is where I started, where the next day I'm like, oh, yay, I got something to give. Maybe I can do this. How can I transition, So I get my cup of coffee and my laptop up on the counter, and I tee up Indeed. And
Indeed.
I indeed fell precipitously. My self-confidence just fell off the table.
Was it because of the descriptions of your qualifications that you should have?
It was more the experience required. I certainly had all the skill sets, and I had the time involved, and I certainly have the professionalism to do it, but I didn't have the experience. So it was really disheartening to me. But like anything else, you just kind of move on and you keep going, and that's how I ended up with the company that I am with now. But
did you find them on Indeed or?
Oh, I had started to talk about that I was trying to get back into work, find something to do. And it was my daughter, who was up in Boston, who found a Fast Company article about this company named après, which means after or what's next, when you figure out you want to do something after you're bored. So she was the one who linked it to me and said, "Mom, you got to get on this."
Your daughter.
Place. My daughter.
Your daughter. This is what I mean. Your kids are watching you.
Yes.
They want you to be happy. They want you to be fulfilled. And if they're paying attention too, because that was something my daughter would pay attention and see. So your daughter sends you this article and you contact the company.
Yeah, so I came on as a member of the site first, and then they were soliciting for business development people, but not in Philadelphia, and I did the old, well, to whom it may concern. I think I have a lot to give. I've been here my whole life. I have a lot of contacts, and I'd love to just talk to you. And I think it was a half an hour later, I had an email back. Scheduling for a phone interview. So that was good, scheduling for an interview. But the invitation came to me as a Google Hangout. and I'm not so sure I expressed this to you. This was the first
Did you even know what a Google
nerve-wrack.
Hangout was?
I didn't know what a Google
Because I don't
Hangout
even know.
was.
I got to tell you, even now, I don't know how to use Google Hangouts.
So, but being the resourceful person I am, I went to the HR director of the club that I'm a vice president, and I said, "Hey, what's Google Hangouts?" And he said, "Oh, well, that's an online video conference for interviewing, so how do I get it? How do I learn it?" And he goes, "It's Fran, you'll learn it. You'll learn it. Just download it on your computer. You'll
It's
learn it."
easy.
So I don't want to get too long in the story about this, but the whole thing, I did my hair, I did my makeup, I learned how to do a home video, make sure that you don't have anything in the background, did the whole thing. I'm ready, I'm up, it's time. And I get a text message from this woman who is 17 years with Goldman Sachs. That was her former career, selling
So
derivatives.
talk about intimidating.
And I was a little intimidated, and now she's texting me saying, "Why aren't you on the call?" And I said, "Well, it's a video call." "Oh, no, just a telephone call."
Oh,
So
you did all
after
this
all
prep,
of
but you still no, but that's good. That's good because you learn that when you're younger.
Yeah.
That when you're making a sales call, stand up and walk around your office and
Yeah.
feel good. So
I was ready to go, and a day and a half later, I'm on a train. I'm scheduled to
This is
go
the
up
part I
and
like.
interview. Okay, I haven't interviewed since I was 24. Okay, so this was quite
this
a
was a part of the
long
story.
time.
Wait, time out. Because this is the part of the story. We're on the phone. I started sweating for you. Like I thought to myself, interview. I just wouldn't go. Like I know it's horrible to say, but I wouldn't go. But let's fast forward. So you get on the train.
Yeah.
You're nervous. You must have been sick nervous.
Oh, I was sick, nervous, but I had done my homework. And at a certain point, you get to a certain point, and you're like, you have to start somewhere, and you just have to do it. And what's the worst that's going to happen? And I've always told my children this. Think about the situation that you're in. Think about the worst thing that can happen. And if you can live with the worst thing that happens, you're going to be fine.
I love that.
I said the worst thing that can happen is they say no. And I'm okay.
And if you didn't go.
And if I didn't go, I wouldn't have had this experience and such. So,
And the answer would have been no. But the
and it
answer
would have
was.
been the answer was yes. But I'll tell you, going up on the train, it was July 8th, and it was 98 degrees, and I don't know how to navigate New York by subway or what have you. So I decided I'm going to walk. But on the train, I also had ripped my stockings. And I was like, oh, now what do I do?
So you okay? So we're gonna bring fast forward this so everybody out there can get to hear exactly what happened. So, but just let me set up. You're sweating in July, going on an interview you hadn't been in over 17 years. You ripped your stockings, and they said yes.
They did say yes.
And how many years ago was that?
Just about. So it was the end of 2016. So yeah, coming up on 3+ almost 4 years.
So because you said to yourself and you practiced what you preach to your children, that if you didn't go, the answer was going to be no anyway.
Exactly.
Really. So the worst thing that could happen, you could live with it no, and you got a yes, and it's been almost 3 years that you've been with this company.
It has, and it's just been fabulous.
Well, you taught your kids an amazing lesson, and that's why I wanted to invite you to share your story with everybody out there, because there's women out there that are sitting in front of the computer scared because of what you said, because they have the skill sets, but they don't have the experience. And in the time that they read the ad and the experience, they taught themselves out of it. And instead of talking yourself out of it, just go for it, because the worst thing that can happen is a no. Oh, well, we all get no's. That's what we teach our kids. So thank you, Fran, for joining me on
thank
this.
you.
Thank you so much. And everybody, listen up. If you have a question that you want to ask me or Fran about her story, or about a topic, or if you have a topic you want us to discuss on In the Nest, go to the comments under this video and leave your question and use the hashtag #DareOn so I can find you. And as always, I love to connect with you. I thrive when we connect. So go to jodysilverman.com, click the In the Nest tab, and connect away. And as I always say, dare on.